All right, turning now to today's Health Watch. When it comes to diets, fads seem to come and go. One diet that gets a lot of attention is gluten-free. Gluten is a protein found in wheat, barley, and rye. It's in pasta, bread, you name it. But who should eat gluten-free diets? And is it healthy for everyone? Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Jon LaPook is here with the answers.
Morning.
Doctor?
So who is gluten-free really for? And is it not a good thing if you like to dabble in gluten-free?
All right, so two different questions. But first of all, let's talk about people with celiac. So celiac is an autoimmune condition where gluten causes the villi in the intestines. Remember those from biology? Those are the little those little fingers that absorb nutrients. And what happens
like
because of the immune reaction, they're lining the walls. That's how you absorb all your vitamin D and all your nutrients and all protein and all that stuff, carbohydrates. And what happens, watch my fingers, they go flat. So now you have flat and you can't absorb your nutrients. And what can happen is various GI symptoms, gastrointestinal, so you can have diarrhea, you can have constipation, bloating, abdominal discomfort. But then it turns out that's when I was in medical school, it turns out that there are other things that we never knew about. First of all, you can have no symptoms whatsoever. You can have things like migraine, short stature, infertility.
You have celiac.
If you have celiac, you can have osteoporosis. And I've had some people who at the age of like 40 or 50, suddenly they have osteoporosis, they're evaluated, wow, for years they haven't been absorbing their vitamin D and calcium and things like that. So it's something that people need to know about.
This looks like menopause symptoms here.
Well, and brain fog. So
Yeah.
my son Daniel gave me permission to say this. He has celiac. We didn't diagnose him until he was 13. His gastrointestinal father, right, didn't notice it because he had sort of occasional abdominal discomfort. He'd call it a stomach ache occasionally. The way we found it, he had low iron. So he had low iron, and that, can cause anemia, can cause problems in terms of thinking, brain fog.
But I mean, other people who don't have celiac are also on a non-gluten diet. What's the motivation?
Yeah. Okay, so about 1% of the population, that's around 3 million people in America, actually have celiac. You make that diagnosis with a blood test. It shows certain antibodies. You can confirm it by doing an upper endoscopy where you look down at that lining, you take some biopsies, you show that instead of the villi being like this, they're like this. Boom, you have celiac. Then there's about another 5%, maybe some more, who say, have these symptoms. It's non-celiac gluten sensitivity where they have the gluten, they have wheat, and they have GI symptoms. And that's a whole bucket of other stuff. It could be things like sensitivity to having a bunch of sugars. It could be things like bacterial overgrowth. It's a whole irritable bowel is lumped in with there.
If people feel better not eating gluten, isn't that okay?
Yes, I think that, a dietitian, first of all, and a doctor is a good thing, but I think dietary counseling is really important. There's a study showing that even in people who don't have actual celiac disease, if you look in their blood, if they have this sort of non-celiac gluten sensitivity, they have evidence of inflammation and autoimmune stuff going on, perhaps, in the body. Remember, it's an autoimmune disease, so people who have celiac have an increased risk of things like inflammation of the thyroid, thyroiditis, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, type 1 diabetes. And in Italy, as of the end of 2023, everybody under the age of 18 gets tested automatically to see if they have celiac or if they have type 1 diabetes. And there have been discussions. It's the only country that's doing that.
Because of the pasta?
Well, they have actually a little bit of an
Everybody
increase.
does a lot more pasta eating?
Well, that's a challenge, but it's
Okay.
more that they're saying, look, this is important. We're missing these diagnoses a lot. 30
That's
to 50% of the people who have it, they don't know it.
Fascinating.
So if you have brain fog, if your kid is having trouble in school, get tested.
Thank you so much.
Dr. LaPook, thank you very much. I appreciate it.